Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And it is Thursday night with a little 4-game slate here. Some pretty good matchups to choose from. In this one, we're taking a look at a fun game here between the Bucks and the Grizz in Memphis. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Also got a couple other videos up for you today, as we do each and every weekday this season. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we have our great written content up for you guys all season long, and our odds finder tool that you can use to go ahead and make sure you're getting the best juice back on all these bets you make across U.S. sportsbooks this NBA season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into this slate here and then talk Bucks and Grizz.
Yeah, 4 games. Pretty interested in all of them here. We got Memphis -2 at home against Milwaukee. That total's crept up a little bit from 225 to 226.5. Then we got Miami on a back-to-back -4 at Houston. Jimmy Butler questionable as always here. Total of 219 there. Pelicans in an immediate rematch at Utah. They lost by 20 2 nights ago, but it is pretty much a pick'em line. Jazz +1, total of 232. And then the struggling Suns +1.5 at the Clippers, who are looking like they got their groove back for sure, at least on defense. And I hope you guys didn't invest too much in my taking overs on heavily defensive teams yesterday with the Clippers and the Mavs and the Cavs, and all of them just going way under. But that being said, if you didn't, then you're not going to have a recency bias, and you're going to be willing to take an over here with Milwaukee and Memphis playing. And as I'm explaining to Josh, I mean, both these teams they dominate the margin in the paint, right? Memphis #1 paint points, #3 paint points allowed this season. And Milwaukee also dominant, of course, with Giannis there. They're starting to round back into form in terms of that. But when they play each other, they can't stop each other. They can't stop what the other one likes to do, which is get out in transition, score in the paint, averaging 124 paint points between the two teams in their last 2 meetings, as well as 36 fast break points. And that's what they've been best at limiting lately. They're 3rd and 6th in limiting fast break points. Obviously, I mentioned the paint point numbers. The last 3 meetings are 2-1 to the over. The exception was a 127-102 win for Memphis without Ja Morant. So Milwaukee is the concern here, that they don't score on the road. That there's definitely notable home road splits here that make you think like, oh, maybe they won't come along. I mean, even though the fact that they just dropped like 130 on the Warriors, but I mean, I'm leaning on pace here. With the last 7 meetings between these teams have averaged 104.6 possessions. So that's only 230 points per game. But when you play that fast, there's definitely the potential for a lot of scoring here. Drew Holiday is out. And while Milwaukee scores less without him as well, their defense obviously takes a hit too, up to a 113 defensive rating, allowing 114 points per game. Without Drew since last season, and the 6 games without him this season, they are actually scoring a tick more, playing at a slightly faster pace. So, I mean, his absence is obviously a big deal for Ja Morant, who's been quiet recently at home for Memphis, but is fully capable of exploding. And he went for 35 the last time they hosted the Bucks, and he was active with Drew coming back from injury. So Drew wasn't 100% there to lock him up. And I mean, Memphis is taking off right now on a homestand. 121 points per game, a 104 pace, shooting 53% from the floor and getting 67 paint points in their last 3 on this homestand. Also an elite defensive rating, but they've been playing, the dregs of the Eastern Conference. And I lean Memphis at home. They are 12-2 on the season. They have only lost 4 home games since the middle of January last season. 2 were to the Celtics. And I guess that's concerning because the Bucks and Celtics play a little similarly, but the Bucks are not traveling right now. They're just coming off that big win. There's a letdown spot here. They're missing Drew, who's easily their second most important player. Chris Middleton is not all the way back. And I don't think they're going to find things as easy against, versus how they just cooked the Warriors, even though they were actually really inefficient in that one, right? I mean, 22 assists, 21 turnovers. But Giannis only 9 for 26 from the field, but it was a 105 pace, and that's why it did go over, despite the inefficiency. So I think over plus Memphis, there's definitely a correlation there as well. That's plus 225. And there's something like 26-1 Memphis is their last 27 games when they scored 120. So definitely a correlation that if you want to get up and down with this team, they're going to beat you at it.
Yeah, I mean, two of the best in the league at doing that, between John and Giannis. I mean, it's a really interesting sort of split between players for the Bucks. Like with they have one player that scores all his points in the paint. His name is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then they have however many other guys in their rotation. Let's say 7 guys that get in the game outside of Giannis, who none of them get into score, half their points in the paint. 4 of them score, more than 50% of their points from deep. I love the Wesley Matthews number that he shoots 70, or he scores 72% of his points from 3-point. Like, West doesn't even stand inside the 3-point line. He's just there to 3 and D. And to a degree, yeah, the arrow, to a degree, like that's going to be every sort of one of their let's say guys who gets time tonight without Drew playing, right? Like, I think Chris obviously is going to continue to get his minutes that have continued to ramp up, getting closer and closer to 30 on his average. And then, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen are going to be getting in there a ton more as well. And we both know where they like to shoot from. Bobby Portis is getting some points in the paint, but Bobby Portis is scoring from everywhere as well. So, I mean, he continues to be super crucial for them and play about a few more minutes a game as well when Drew's not in there. So, like him as well. But, I think it's just about the matchup, because Milwaukee has somewhat terrified me this season to pick, not necessarily against them, but to pick too many points being scored in their games. It seems like a very hit or miss moment for them. It's just about the matchup, because as we are looking at here, the home road splits for Milwaukee in terms of scoring are just really stark, right? Like 13 more points a game at home versus on the road. It's that 105 that scares you. Now, Memphis has been scoring on teams that, when they play teams that aren't quite as fast paced as them and good at defense, a la the Heat, then things start to dwindle a little bit. Same concept for the 76ers when they played them recently. Those are sort of the 2 best defensive teams they played in their last, roughly 5 to 10. As you mentioned, just beating up on the dregs of the Eastern Conference, not including the Knicks, who are not in the dregs anymore, and actually did beat Memphis in that one. But they're still playing at a very fast pace with a team that in the Knicks, it has been playing a bit faster as well. I bring all this up to say, like, Memphis is sort of trying to play fast no matter what. It's just a matter of, are they going to be able to get theirs if the other team is slowing the game down too much. So then you obviously look at how fast Milwaukee plays, whether they're at home or on the road, and not too different necessarily, but it is a little bit slower than you would like to see for them. I mean, 99.5 pace isn't slow, but it's a little bit slower than they play at home. Once again, the reason for the points being scored there. So I don't know if they're trying to necessarily slow it down on the road. I don't think there's that big of a difference, and that's what you really need in this game to hit that over. I would like the Bucks, though. If Drew was in this game, I would really like the Bucks to win this one, and take advantage of a Memphis team that hasn't really been playing competition that makes you worry about everything they've been doing. They're 6-0 in their last 6, but yeah, like that, the best win that they had in there was a struggling Heat team that I don't really feel is playing anywhere near where it should be right now. I don't think anybody does. So I think the Bucks have played really good comp lately with Chris Middleton in, even if he's just there to be a threat in a way that, when he's not on the floor, Andrew's not on the floor, you're really just like, get Giannis out of there. If Brook wants to shoot 30-foot threes, fine. But like, Giannis can't score. Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton and Wes Matthews are going to have to beat us, right? And Javon Carter. So if that's the case, still, like, that's faster. That's playing faster. Chris is in there to at least help them have that sort of like ball handling playmaker and slow things down when needed, especially with Drew not in there. Maybe get a few more assists. Their points per game are like 5 more since last season when Chris Middleton plays versus when he doesn't. So all those things lead you, like, I feel better about Milwaukee. And I still don't mind an over if I'm taking Milwaukee, because I do think Memphis is going to keep that pace going at home as they have been.
Yeah, the home road thing, just at this point in the season, seems so stark, though, that like, I just trust a team at home to be geared up, especially when they've been waiting for you, this is their 5th straight at home. And Memphis just, they're always, that building's going to be jumping for an opportunity to beat Giannis. But we're not necessarily trying to call a winner. We're just hoping for some good points here. And I'm glad you brought up Middleton because, he hasn't been shooting at a high percentage, but the Bucks offense has kind of evolved in the half court since he got back. And especially their 3-point shooting, averaging 13 threes at a 36% clip, up to 37% in the last 5 that he started and finished. Throwing out that Rockets game where he got injured, they've gone over in 7 of their last 8 with Middleton out there and throughout the entire game. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, Milwaukee's pace has fluctuated wildly, but if they are able to hit threes, that's obviously the bellwether here. I would like to see where Bobby Portis props are at because he's going to see a lot of run here. And he's coming off a nice 21-point game, but with Memphis playing a big front line, they're going to need him. And then defensively, Memphis allows the highest assist to field goal ratio in the league. And Milwaukee's doing a much better job of sharing the ball on the road, at least, versus at home. They have a very low assist ratio. So, that half court offense, it does give you some confidence in that they'll be able, that maybe Middleton starts to get his groove a little bit more and helps you keep the scoring up here, along with guys like Grayson Allen, Bobby Portis on the wing. And then Giannis has scored like a point per minute. His last 3 trips to Memphis is pretty much business as usual. So if it's close, he'll help you keep scoring as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck stopping him coming down. He absolutely dominated the Dubs. And I like your point about the assists because the Bucks shoot a ton of those threes. And since Middleton's come back, they're actually even increased their percentage of 3-point field goals that they're making that are assisted, right? So they're swinging the ball around the perimeter a lot better with Middleton out there, having just one more threat to be able to put up that 3 or even just step in one dribble in a mid-range. You've got to watch him a lot closer than you would this offense otherwise. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. We are coming back at you each and every weekday this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.